It's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.
Good afternoon. We are back 3 weeks in a row. Let's get it.
Yeah, land stuff.
Hell yeah. Got the guys back from Hive Mind, and we're here to discuss this thing called land investing, flipping land, wholesaling land, everything dealing with the world of land. And we have a topic here. Sort of thought that through a little while ago when I was putting this together. Fastest way to make 30K flipping land. I just put a number on it, just makes it look better, you know, in the title, whatever. But just basically the fastest way to flip land. Like what's like infield lots, 1 to 5 acres, whatever it is, we'll discuss. And we'll evaluate a couple properties. If you guys have anything you want us to look at, we would love to do that also. And we got Kyle and Anthony here. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I'll put their contact. I think I got Anthony's email on my scroller here, so we'll put that up. All right. So just to because some people still a little don't know who you guys are that follow my content. If you could just do a little slight introduction.
Yeah, thanks, man. So we're a Hive Mind is our brand. There's a bunch of us, I guess, in the community. I would say last count we were like at 350 like a year ago. So I don't know how many people are involved now, but it's Kyle, myself, and Daniel are kind of the main operators of everything. And then we have a lot of accessory people that help us and contribute to what we're doing. But we help each other find land deals, negotiate them, close them, and then we help our students raise the capital. And I say students, but I mean just anybody that brings a deal. There's nothing to buy. You bring a good deal, and we'll find a way to take it down and get it funded. And I'm operating out of San Antonio, Texas. Kyle's in Orlando, and then Daniel's in San Diego. So we kind of got all bases covered. We operate primarily in Texas, but we'll look anywhere where there's low days on market, red states only.
All right, boom. I didn't know Daniel was in San Diego. I don't know why I thought he was there with you.
Yeah, everyone thinks he's in Texas because he wears the hat all the time.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's like, "I'm Texas." It's funny.
Yeah, I would have lost money on that. Okay. All right, cool. All right. So let's do this. Would you like to talk about the topic first and maybe look at the property or so? How would you like to go?
Yeah, we could touch on the topic. I think the topic's a good one. Okay. Personally, the biggest spread I made on an infill lot was 20, but that was obviously a pretty tough negotiation, right? Because infills are so price oriented. I would say the fastest way is to just do a 10-acre lot split and turn that 30 into 300. But another way is just buying and reselling land. And let's say you got something for 100 and it's worth 200, and we sell it for 175. That thing's going to fly off the market, because if you already got low days on market for something at retail, imagine how fast it'll move slightly below retail too. So I think that's personally one of the fastest ways, just to buy and resell or leverage a timeline and double close it on something that's got a massive spread.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So it depends on how much you're trying to make, right? So of course you could still wholesale it the same way you would with a house, double close, do those kinds of things. We do a lot of wholetailing now. Is what we're getting better at, is to find stuff that should actually be closed on and then listed. So that's step number one. I think that's the quickest, fastest way. That's not our primary focus or business model. We like to do 10-acre lot splits. So you buy 100 acres, chop it up into 10-acre tracts, and you could be in and out of those deals in 3 to 6 months. And 4 to 6 months, I guess, is a little more realistic. We have 2 going right now. And what do those spreads look like, Kyle, for Tyler and let's say like the one over by Houston?
Yeah, the El Campo one's probably, after paying everything, probably about 500,000 net like profit.
So there's $500,000 on a simple flip, and we might have it all sold or most of it sold by tomorrow. When did we lock it up?
We got this like literally 2 weeks ago Tuesday. So 2 weeks ago Tuesday. So this upcoming Tuesday, so after Labor Day here, we'll be 2 weeks under contract, and we found a really, really amazing agent that's bringing in a family to almost buy each lot. So I think, that's an amazing business model too, what she's doing. So kudos to her.
So you think about that, man. Let's say they buy half or whatever, and it takes us another month or 2 months to sell the rest. That's 500,000, right? Like in 2 months or 3 months profit. And then we have another one similar over in Smith County, North Texas. So, and that one, I think that one should be somewhere between 5 and 7, something like that. So 2 small deals that will probably take maximum of 6 months each. Maybe, and if things go crazy, it takes 9. But $1 million cash on 2 deals that we're never even going to see in person.
How were these properties that were listed?
Yeah, both were listed.
Both of them are listed, man. You don't even have to go hunting too far for these kinds of deals. You just have to know what you're looking for.
Got to know what you're looking for. All right. Just the characteristics that made those deals so attractive. And are you paying retail for them, or you still got a discount off the listing price, or are you on the numbers?
So the El Campo one, it was listed at 1.1. We picked it up for $1 million. So only about $100,000 worth of negotiation, but on a price point that high, it's not that much, getting $100,000 discount. And yeah. I mean, the agent told us basically their bottom line was $1 million. They shot for 1.1. Literally admitted that they would take $1 million. And then for the Tyler one over in Smith County, Northeast Texas, we paid retail. We paid their listing price. So that was pretty good too.
Yeah. So these deals, like I said, you just go hunting. I mean, we were pulling lists. We were pulling millions and millions of records. I think Daniel bought like 90 million records or something, a couple of years ago. But now what we're doing is like, you kind of don't even have to, unless you want to. That's still a strategy. So maybe if you're going to try to find those little small lots, like those, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 acre lots, you could probably pull a list for those and kill it with that. You could easily hit up $100K a month doing that business model. But if you just go right to Google and just say, hey, land for sale by Dallas or something, and just start looking at the properties, we're just looking for stuff that has as much road frontage as possible. And you need some kind of water source. So you need a public water or the ability to get a water well. And that's pretty much it, man. So you find these like longer properties and that are listed, and we make 2 offers. We just say, hey, we'll give you about half in cash, right? 50 to 60% of what you're listed for, roughly, is what we aim for. And if they say, no, we got to get our full asking price, that's all we want. Well, then that's when we come in and we start negotiating something creative. Well, hey, what if we gave you $100K non-refundable? And, we start not developing the property, but like start working on getting it separated, getting the track separated while we're still under contract. And that's what we negotiate.
We call it pushing paper.
Paper pushing.
Yeah. So, so you're just basically, will you close on the property before you start selling the tracks? Or
you have to close on it first.
Okay.
Yes, you can't sell something, right, that we don't own, but we are already kind of pre-shopping buyers while we're under contract, because if we can't find buyers for that target exit sales price, then we don't want the property either. And we're very transparent with the sellers about that, is what our intentions are with the property, what we're planning to do. So there's no sleight of hand. You know what I mean? This is just like, hey, I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to make 15-acre ranchettes. And if you guys are okay with that, we'll take it. However, we're not going to wait to start selling after we close. And then we say, hey, surprise, you can't sell it for that. So we just let them know is that we're going to do some upfront marketing to make sure that the numbers work before we close. And when it comes closing day, we're closing for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
When something doesn't, I guess, fit the, and we'll pull up a property if we say road frontage, people may not have a visual of that, but we'll pull some stuff up. When we say, people may not have a visual of that, but we'll pull some stuff up. When something won't fit the subdivide model, what still would make it attractive to you guys to say, oh yeah, we want in on that? Or it's just going to now be based on if you can get it at maybe 40%, 50% of the market or something, or
that's it, man. Because land, there's just so many deals out there. So like, let's say somebody has something that's worth $250. It's been sitting on the market. It is worth $250, right? Retail. You could look up other comps and see that other stuff has sold for $250, but it's been listed for 6 months. Like, hey, the market doesn't want that property right now for that price. Mm-hmm. So we'll just go in there and offer them 125, 150, and then they say they'll take it 175. if we can close on it, right, for 150, 175, list it for 225, maybe 200, just make that decent spread, then we'll take it. But if we can't buy it at a price where we can sell it under market, then we don't want it at all. We're going to try to sell for like 80% of retail, something like that.
How attractive does something become if you can set up some attractive terms, even if you flipped out the terms, if you know what I mean?
Yep. So I guess something that would be like ideal is the longer the better. So like, let's say the property is worth $1 million, and that's retail, and the guy's, I'm not going to take a penny less. Okay, well, we'll give you the full $1 million. Is it okay if I, amortize that over 30 years and I'll balloon you out in 3 years or 5 years? Right? Because what that does is that buys us down some time, so we could still separate the property, sell it for what we need to sell it for, and then we can ride some cash flow for a few years, 3 years or 5 years. And then when it's time to sell it, then of course you can try to make something on the exit. But if not, at least you've made cash flow for 3 to 5 years. So you don't have to make all the profit on closing day. You can plan to make cash flow over time and distance. And so that's a way that you can help the seller move the property. I guess that's another point right now, is that if a lot of these properties, they're just hard to move because nobody can come in and stroke a check for $1 million or $2 million or $3 million. Those buyers are so few and far between. So the value that we provide is we take a larger tract and then we separate them down into smaller tracts and break them down into bite-sized pieces. And that's something that sellers, they don't know. They don't know how to do it, or they're just not interested, right? It takes we have a lot of salespeople. We have a massive sales team. So there's a lot of moving parts that, average Joe is just not going to know about. Like, hey, let me hire an engineer and cut this thing up. So that's what we do. We just provide the expertise, the capital, and the sales arm to help them get these properties moved.
Okay. But you are looking, quote unquote, for minor subdivides where it's more or less just a survey thing, right? More so where that, those regulations will allow. Yeah.
So if you stay in those, like I said, mostly red states, I'm sure it works in other states, but they make it very easy. So in Texas, as long as you stay above 10.01 acres, you just survey off that land and you can sell 10-acre tracts. So like I said, whatever it takes the surveyor to get those surveys back, we can close. Sometimes it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it is. It's a pretty simple process. But if you're going to say, hey, I need to put in a little cul-de-sac, well, that little cul-de-sac just costs you 12 months, maybe 18 months. Yeah. And that does not fit our business model.
Okay. I was this broker. I helped someone move some land in Mississippi, and the broker that I chose, I guess I got fortunate. He was really the first one I called, and that's what he does is land, right? And he went out to the property and everything. So and so after that transaction, I've just been bouncing a couple of questions on him about that market. Mm-hmm. So I asked him about the smallest you could, subdivide down to, and, without approvals, so it was just a survey. Mm-hmm. And he said the counties that he worked, which he gave me his geographical area that he works, he said all of them will allow you to go down to an acre, right?
Dang.
Yeah.
With no approvals?
I'm gonna read. Let me make sure I'll read exactly what he said. He said, okay, so I said, is there a statewide minimum lot size or county by county? Example, if I had 10 acres, can you subdivide down to 10 1-acre lots with just a survey, or 1 acre is too small? He said 1 acre is okay. I think it has to be more to do with the type of septic system required. As long as the ground will perk, it's no problem.
Wow, that's beautiful, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I know there's some counties in Texas where you can get down to 5. That's the smallest I've ever heard of. And to me, it makes sense because you do 5-acre tracts. If you throw houses or barn or whatever you're going to throw on that 5 acres, the water can still flow fine. But if you bust it down to 1-acre lots and you start throwing up 300 houses on a ranch, it sounds like you're going to flood out the neighbors. So I don't know how they could get away with that with no approval. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if that would be a county I'd probably want to play in, because that's how you make a lot of money in this business. You take a tract, instead of doing 10-acre tracts, you bust them down into 3/4 acre lots. Like right now we're building out a subdivision, 200 acres. We're putting in 180, 30,000 square foot lots. And yeah, man, just the engineering and the paperwork and all that stuff is it's going to take about 12 months.
Well, what made you all go that route versus your normal route? Just trying you could do it, or what?
I think this one was all God, bro. Honestly, like this, all the moons just aligned too perfectly. Like where this is not, it was not an accident, right? So we just got it for a crazy price. Seller financing. It was listed on the market for like 6 months. It was in a beautiful area. I mean, it was just everything just lined up perfectly. So we leveraged seller finance at 0% interest. So that was a big help, right? And then we were gonna do 10-acre splits, and we're gonna try to make like $1 million on it. But once to really maximize it, I was gonna have to put in a road. And I thought you could just do like a dirt gravel road or whatever. I went down to the county, like, no, they said once you put in that road, you're gonna have to activate the subdivision law. You might as well do smaller lots. So I'm like, well, we don't really have too much out of pocket. You know, we have the equipment and the team to do it. The price is crazy. We got the timeline. We got seller financing for long enough. So I'm like, man, just like I said, just all the moons aligned all at the same time. So we just went ahead and said, we've always wanted to do one. So let's just go ahead and pull the trigger on it, right? But now instead of us trying to pull in $1 million on this deal, you know, now we're gonna total sales volume will be 16 million, right? And maybe we're like 5 or 5.5 out of pocket. So now instead of us making $1 million, we're gonna try to make 10 on this deal. So just the numbers just worked out magically. It's just beautiful. It just worked out great.
Would this be the first one you've done on that scale like that?
Yeah. First rodeo, bro. Never put in a road before like that. I've put in gravel roads and like dirt clay roads, like just small ones, but
this is actual paved road.
It's going to be a chip seal. Yeah. So it's paved. It's built to county specs. Yeah. And 3 miles of road, man. So we went from never having done a subdivision to 200 acres on our first shot.
Oh, wow.
Anthony, you want to walk through how much that road cost?
I got to look at all the figures still. But right now we're laying down 3 miles of clay, right? So it's a sandy lot, right? So you walk out there and it's like yellow sand, like beach sand, right? So you'll sink in there. So you got to put a clay base underneath that thing, right? So we're doing like 15 inches of compacted clay base. So they're actually, luckily, man. And again, this is like I'm telling you, man, that the moon's aligned.
Yeah.
In this particular area, we didn't have to go buy clay from somewhere else and truck it in. It was underneath the sand.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So they're digging the clay out from underneath the ground and using that to put down that first row of 3 miles of clay inside the neighborhood. But yeah, the whole road completed, everything out the door is going to be right under $1 million.
Wow.
For 3 miles.
Wow.
So the $1 million, as opposed to, you know, maybe like 20,000 in surveys, that's a very large difference between like building out a subdivision, doing a subdivision, as opposed to a 10-acre subdivide. It's just the amount of capital allocation and obviously there's some risk too involved in timelines. Yeah. But as Anthony said, the moon's aligned and you got a 50%, maybe 40% on the dollar plus 0% seller financing. Like you can't ask for a better deal, you know, a discount and time. It's insane.
And the material was already there. Like, yeah. Man, this is just, it's like they forced us to do it.
Yeah.
And then we're self-funding too, man. So we're paying this out of pocket, you know, so that's heavy for sure. I'm not gonna lie about that. But we're starting to get more and more lenders in place that are interested in development. So we don't want to pivot to development entirely, but we are starting to entitle our second neighborhood now that Kyle found on the southeast side of San Antonio. So we are going to have development burning in the background all the time. It's never going to go away. But again, like you got to think about it. If somebody's watching this and they're like, hey, I'm going to bring these guys this deal, you got to remember that you might end up having to wait 2 years to get paid, a year and a half to get paid. Like it's nothing, It's nothing light. So.
Yeah, I guess based on the title, if someone brought you something, what would that look like as far as say, well, I need some money now? You know, like how would that look as far as an assignment fee or referral fee or whatever you want to title it or whatever? So
we're open to that, man. You know, it just depends how good the strength of the deal is always the most important part. So if it's a crazy, amazing deal and like something that we could make money relatively quick on, we can give 100 grand, 50 grand, 20 grand, you know, it's something the more they need up front, the less they're going to get. So they say, hey, I got this farm. I'll give it to you. Boom, we'll give you 80 G's and you're out the way, 50 grand. That's a typical assignment fees, like 50 grand for bringing it to a deal that works. Okay. But if they want to make more than that and they want to wait to get paid when we get paid at the end of the deal, when we sell it, then, you know, then we can bump that way up.
Watch this. I need 15 now. Can I wait on some more later?
That's perfect,
Yeah.
dude. That's better for us. Yeah, we just put something in your pocket to just make you feel good about yourself and the deal and everything, and then let us go to work and do what we do, and then then we can give you a bigger spread on the back end. Because of course, every time we get a new deal, we go out and we fundraise, right? So we're not sitting on piles of cash. I don't want to get on here and say, hey, I got millions of dollars in the bank, because it ain't. I've got $25 million worth of land, but we don't have cash sitting around. So when we get a new deal, we go out and we raise it. We'll go pick up, borrow 100, 200, put that down on the property, and then go to work on the surveys and doing all that front end stuff. So we do go raise the capital for you when you bring us something nice.
Yeah, I use that. I brought that up because I always think about the first course I ever listened to on real estate. Well, he had talked about a lot of stuff, but Ron LeGrand, he said, yeah, you think about all that future stuff, but you need to worry about today's bills. None of that stuff would matter.
Yeah.
I need to, you need to pay today's bill, get right with that, and then, start the deal or whatever.
We do our community members, man. We do hand out cash. Like somebody's in the jam, they got something locked up. It's going to be fat, but it ain't happening for a month or whatever. Yeah, we give people advances. So we try to keep people in the game that are putting in the effort with us.
Well, yeah, that's I'm assuming that's on after you pull a title, so you know that ain't gonna be the hold up.
We at least know it's a good deal first. Yeah. And now we're just waiting for something to fund, paperwork to come back, surveys to come back. We'll advance our people 5, 10, 20 grand, whatever it takes to keep them in the game.
Yeah, boom. All right, so I'm going to the deal we've been talking about, and we started. Kyle and I went back and forth on it last night a little bit, but let's go again. And so let me pull this up, and that was the one with the owner financing, Kyle.
Yeah, the one near Victoria, right?
Yeah. So let me share my screen here.
The shape is pretty incredible in this one, in the road frontage.
Is this? Well, let me make sure. I get confused. Is it?
It's that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
3 sides of frontage.
Yeah.
Actually, 4 sides of frontage. That's something we look for daily. So
yes.
That
go back when you all were talking about what makes sense. This is when we say road frontage. This is what we're talking about. So you got road. So it's 2 parcels here. So this is a road that splits both of them. Obviously, that's one side. Here's more road frontage here. So this one it's basically both of them are corner lots, but this was a double corner lot, the bigger parcel. So you got all this road frontage and then all this road frontage, right? That's like the only thing to make it more perfect if you had road frontage on this side. that's the only thing to make it just like, oh my God, yeah. So
is this one you're buying right here?
Yeah, it's one of the ones we got. So let me throw the terms up.
Is it contracted already?
No. This is what we're going back and forth with the agent on. So the black is what I put out there to them now. I didn't get you guys to approve it. I just thought it made sense if they accepted what I put out. So, but we can go from there or whatever. But the red is what she countered with. You see, it was basically they're asking 1.9, what is that? 1.981 on 7,000 an acre. And I offered 100 down, principal leave that 24 months. They said they're willing to go up to 30 months. So I guess that's the positive. I didn't put a percentage on there purposely. They want 5% interest. They say 7,000 per acre paid to the seller on each sold acre or whatever. And
I like that a lot.
And if the lots are not sold, still up to 30 months, and we will pay 3%. I put that there. I don't know if that's what y'all do, but that's the offer I made.
Yeah, that's great.
We do that sometimes. We've actually started doing that quite a bit because, sometimes especially on offers we make with longer timelines, we release EMD immediately to the sellers, right, where it's tangible in their pocket. But it's like, if you want the agent to kind of be on your side, like, what do they get? So sometimes we've been making offers, where the buyer's agent commission is immediately released upon when EMD is delivered. So sometimes we'll do stuff like that. It's not something we do all the time, but if we really need to really hammer down our negotiations, we'll release commissions immediately. So that's something we started adding into the arsenal.
You see, I put it in bold. I wanted to see that. So yeah, you got to think in the terms of that. Like we were just talking about your bills. they're thinking about their bills first.
For sure, dude.
So they're going that conversation when they go back to the seller. Yeah, I think there's something we hadn't got a lot of action on it, and I think we might need to accept something close to this. Yeah, but yeah, those terms look good though.
That looks great to me, man. I try to not hit them and if we can do the 20% down, no problem. But yeah, there better be a nice spread here if we got to go fundraise for hundo. Yeah.
But that's the thing though. That's what Kyle and I were going back and forth on last night a little bit. Well, you saw it, but
yeah, we'll probably need partial releases to, like let's say because it's a 45 to 60 day close, so we'll have to raise the 20%, and then like let's say we sell 3 lots cash and then seller finance the rest on the back end. We have to get the partial releases so we can pay off our lender.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's just some additional terms.
Yeah, you can kind of let her know up front, Anthony, if you want to touch on that a little bit more on the partial releases. And actually, we just had a deal that kind of blew up because of that. If you want to touch on that briefly, Anthony.
Yeah. So when you get these surveys back, let's say we come back with 10 surveys, we look for let's say somebody wants to buy one of the tracts now, we would get the seller to release a portion of that property, and so we can give them those funds. Because of course, when the person comes in to buy it, they're going to want to own that land free and clear. So yeah, you just have the seller fill out a piece of paperwork that says, "Hey, I'm releasing this corner of the property based on this survey, etc."
Okay. All right. So with this, what would be the next? So we just have to make sure the next. Well, pricing. I think when we were talking, Kyle, we said I said between 11 and 13. I think is what 10-acre lots are selling for. So this really doesn't fit unless we're comfortable with only selling at 8,000. So that's basically 1,000 times 283. So what is that? 283,000. Is that worth it at that point, or is it worth it because they would do owner financing?
No,
it's worth it. It could be worth it because they do owner finance, because you can turn it into debt. It can turn into a debt play. It's like 2.5 years. I think they were saying 30 months as he has 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So we can turn it into debt. Obviously, the partial releases is pretty much what we need for that. Okay. But we can turn it into debt. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So we'll work on that. So, but just for people that are watching, you see how important road frontage is, because now let me just use the tool really quick here. I think
you can measure that out.
Yeah. So when we start talking about 10-acre lots, I'll do it on this side here. So we can go here, and it tells me up there. So I'm at about 16, so I'm a little too large, but let's see here. So that's about 10 right there. So boom. So basically it's just going to be, how many? This is 104 acres. So basically it'll be a 10 of those, right? Would that be the best direction on this one, or you would go from this road right here?
So the FM roads, the text dot controls, so you typically have larger driveway spacing depending on the speed limit. Okay. County road, counties control, so you have typically less of a driveway spacing because it's controlled by the county. So typically you can get away with less shared driveways, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's a dirt road on the county road. FMs are always paved. Okay. FM roads are always paved.
So you want to come from that direction then? Okay.
And ideally you want to have your driveways off the paved road, because you don't want to see smoke blowing behind you. That county road looks paved.
Yeah.
But yeah, ideally you want to do it. That looks like maybe a little bit of flood, and then there's some sort of maybe a pipeline easement going through the back.
Let me see here. Let me Council.
So if that's flood, probably have to draw off the top of that county road on that larger track.
Okay.
And I say that because you want the flood zone to be towards the back, so someone has a little buildable site they can put a house and stuff like that.
All right, let me see. Floodplain, no floodplain, and wetlands. So
sometimes you got almost like we call it phantom flood, where it's just not reported.
Okay. You're looking at this grass here, or which one?
You could kind of tell based on where the trees are growing a little bit more, just the way it kind of looks.
Okay.
And when people go out and walk the land, they're like, "Hey, is this in a flood zone?" And you're like, "Oh, well, FEMA doesn't show it," but they can tell. They can definitely tell.
Okay.
So we probably cut off the top, and there's an easement, so we probably would cut off the top anyway. There's some sort of easement going through that. In between those trees, if you can see those lines,
Yeah.
those typically are easements.
But that's a road going from that county road to.
Yeah, I think that's an oil well right there where your mouse is right now. That's probably an oil well. And that's typically why that road's leading right into it.
Okay.
Either that, or it's just some dirt's kicking up.
Yeah, typically when you see those clearings like that, yeah, there might be, you got to look real close. It might be electrical lines. It could be a gas line. It could be just a service road that goes to an oil pad. So anytime you see where the grass is perfectly cleared like that through trees, yeah, okay. I'd kind of try to do a little bit more research there, figure out what's going on. Because sometimes it is just a harmless dirt road that somebody threw in. But if it's really nicely cleared and maintained, then it might be like a utility company servicing that area. That's why it's so perfect and manicured.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
A good way to tell. You see how you can see like some of those clear little lines they go across, that they'll cross to a different property. So if it's cleared on yours only, maybe it's nothing. But if it's cleared on yours and that clearing continues into the next property, that's 100% indication that it's a utility easement.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nice. All right. We got any questions in here yet?
Questions.
Oh, so they're asking, do your JV in Texas only?
I'm open to any red state as long as there's a low days on market. So if you take me out in the middle of nowhere, Georgia, and days on market are a year, that's not something that we want to mess with. It has to be something where you're having a lot of sales. So as a gross rule of thumb, I would say closer to cities that have over 1 million people.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And close means like 15 to 30 minutes max.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see here. I don't have anything else there. So question, I got a couple of leads in. I know, Kyle, you've done infield lots. That's how you started down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done commercial infield or just commercial lots in general?
I haven't personally done a commercial deal or wholesale one or flip one. I was going to do a rezone on one. It fell through with the seller. I was going to rezone it from professional commercial use, which is like a one-off building, like a barber shop. I was going to rezone it to residential with the county. It's going to be like a 4-month process. Mm-hmm. But you can also do rezones the other way around, where you do it from residential to commercial and create value, or some sort of variance there. You can always create variances or rezones to create value, depending on where the property is. But I personally haven't flipped anything commercial. Anthony has something they're working on commercial-wise that I believe they're selling the Lowe's.
Yeah, I've done a couple of rezoning, and right now I'm doing my first commercial deal we're doing an entitlement play on a 15.5 acre lot, east side San Antonio. I'm getting for $5 million, and I'm about to get a letter of intent from Lowe's Home Improvement.
Oh wow! Okay, wow, yeah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
What as far as we got the lead. This guy has 5 lots, and I think they're downtown Miami, and he wants $9 million for them, and he owns.
That doesn't surprise me.
Huh?
I said that doesn't surprise me in Miami.
Yeah, and he'll own a finance with 50% down, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're still $4.5 million. And so this young lady that I've been knowing since 2018, I think she just quit, but she's worked for CoStar for like years, so she knows commercial real estate just by the job and stuff. So before she quit, she made sure she got as many investor contacts as she possibly could in all arenas and relationships with what she's built with brokers over the years. And so she's already had an investor that's highly interested. She said, if it's where she says it is, yeah, $9 million would be a number that he would be willing to do, especially with the terms that the seller is offering.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so we got to figure out a way to try to put it together. So I need you guys' help if you're interested in something like that, just tying it up if nothing else.
Yeah, I was gonna say for just for your audience, yeah, we don't want to see nothing but deals like that. But on that one where he is offering seller finance and everything, I think we should take a closer look at it. That would be cool. But just like I said, even though that's not our primary business model, we could still do some of that stuff. But just to keep it simple for everybody watching, the next thing you know, people are going to start sending you nothing but $20 million commercial development.
This is off market though. This is farm. So even though you find on the market, it's off market. He wasn't thinking about selling it until we called him. Or whatever.
People send us a deal and it's like, hey, I've got 18 acres by Austin and they want $22 million. And if we put 99 condos on there, we can make $80 million. Like, but you got to raise 120 to make it, Pops.
So typically we're sticking around 5 to 20 an acre. We typically don't look at anything higher than 20 an acre. We do 5 an acre because typically anything at 5 an acre is not too rural, and then 20 an acre, you're typically, at least going to be able to negotiate in a hotter zone, a hotter area. So we're looking 5 to 20 an acre. So like Anthony said, if you send something that's like 15 acres for $50 million, we probably won't look at it.
Yeah, but by the time the seller wants above 20 an acre, you're going to have to do some sort of development to make money or entitlements. Unless it's like I said, some crazy by downtown Austin or something, right? But if typically the guy has a farm unrestricted, outside the city, which that's what we're looking for. But by the time he's beyond 20, the guy wants 32 an acre. Like, man, you're not going to sell 10-acre lots for 50 grand, an acre. It's not going to happen. So like Kyle said, that's 5 to 10, 12 purchase price is perfect. And then we could try to make some magic happen.
Okay. Abundance Cove, I guess is the way you say it. Got 2 interesting questions here. The first one is, do we need an LLC to double close and wholesale land, or can we just use our names?
I was gonna say you could just use your personal name. I'm not an attorney, but you could just use your personal name, and an LLC will protect you because, like, let's say you do a double close and all of a sudden the seller sues you. Well, at least they're coming after the business and not you personally. So I would recommend just to set up an LLC, but you can do it in personal name. I've closed deals in personal names. I've double closed in personal name. But as far as legality goes, I would do it in LLC just to protect you. You can sue anyone for anyone nowadays. So
yeah, I always tell people, because some people just don't have the couple $100 to establish an LLC. I say, well, go ahead and just do one in your name. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if they do sue you, they can't put you in jail. So whatever. we'll figure it out.
Okay.
So
if you don't have $200, you're not too worried about getting sued, right?
yeah. Okay. Squeeze that blood out of a turnip. You know what I'm saying? So after you close that first deal, then get that LLC or whatever entity you want to start in motion, because you should have the money now. Because you are running a business, so it needs to be treated like you're running a business.
Yep.
Right. So her follow-up question. Now let me give my answer, and you all tell me if I'm wrong or not. Right. She said, why does closing land take 40 to 60 days instead of 14 days when closing houses? Now, my answer is that with houses, you have it's easy to identify repeat buyers that'll buy as much as you send them, right? Whereas with land, a lot of times you're selling so close to retail that it just all types of buyers. Number one, you just don't have that network of investors, especially when you start getting out in the rural areas and outside of market. Now, you had a lot of infill lots in a particular city or something. You could probably build a buyer's list from that, but you have just regular people that they just may want to buy it. Just, I want to own something, or I'm gonna put a mobile home on it. I'm gonna build a house on it. Then you're gonna have your investors. Then you're gonna have your developers. So it's just different. It's just different. So that's why, being able to close in 14 days, not saying it's not possible, it happens all the time. That's more common with houses, right? Because buyers are repeat buyers. They could have 10 projects going on at one time, like it's nothing or whatever. And so and they're looking for more. So that's the way I look at it as far as why that difference is, why it takes longer with land versus houses. But I may be wrong.
Yeah, we made an offer the other day. We said, hey, we'll close in 7 days, right? We could self-close or whatever too if the deal's that good. But typically, like you said, man, you got to be really careful, right? Because even if you're doing an infill lot, like for some reason somebody didn't build here, right? So I got a really good deal on one that was like North San Antonio, beautiful, perfect lot and everything. But it just looked kind of funny, man. I said I want to take a little bit longer look at this one. There was some flood zone behind it. So by the time I hired an engineer, did all this other thing, there was only one like little strip of the property was buildable. So I would have had to build a house like 20 foot wide and long. Like, it was like, what the heck is that, right? So if I'm gonna buy it, like I'm just not gonna wholesale it. I want as long a time as possible to close. Like some of these big ranches, we get ourselves 6 to 9 months to close on stuff. I have that commercial property. I have 2 years to close on it. So we have another deal. We have 1.5 years to close. So whatever, the bigger the deal, the longer the runway you're gonna want to close that thing, because you're gonna, during the time you're under contract, you're gonna want to try to force appreciation either by doing surveys to split it up, or doing the entitlement process, that you're doing something during that time that you have it under contract to make it worth more money. And like, just like for what you said, Ty's, we don't have just one guy where we could just send him $21 million ranches and he's just going to close on all of them, right? We really are going to penetrate into that marketplace, and we're going to find buyers, individual retail end buyers that are actually going to use the property for personal use.
Boom. All right. Okay. I don't see anybody. Another question. So I have this other property here. I hadn't shown you yet. I don't think. Let me see here, because it's a listed one, so I don't want to give his deal away. You also, oh yeah, let's get it. Somebody else out there can grab it. You know what I'm saying? So let me be careful how I share this. So let me pull up my screen here. All right. And so it's this one. So it's these two parcels. These are the same owner, which is 20, and this one is 120, 121. So like 141 or so. So obviously, you got good road frontage here. Would that still be considered a flag lot?
Where does the road stop?
Yeah, because of all of this road frontage on the top end here versus the bottom. The road right here, and then you got all this road up here.
No, that's beautiful. No, that's not a flag lot. A flag lot is just you have one little ugly narrow driveway that goes to where the property is, and then the property opens up really, just like if you're driving down a flag pole and then you get to the flag part, and it's tremendous, right? So this is a beautiful, perfect lot.
Assuming this road here wasn't here, what then would it be a flag lot? If this was the only road frontage?
It's an ugly lot, but still, I don't think it's a flag. A flag lot to me is like you only have like enough room to get one car, like 60 foot, 80 foot driveway, and that's it, nothing else.
Okay, all right.
But this one here probably has 200 or 300 feet of road on it.
Yeah.
If that just on that short side.
Yeah, on the short side, I think the total is 4,500. With both. Then
I would look at what size lot is that, right? So if it's like a 30-acre tract and you only have 300 feet of road frontage, well, each lot gets 100 foot of road. I'll still make that work. But if you have 300 feet of road and you got 1,000 acres, I can't do nothing with that. You're gonna have to put a road in.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So with this one, it's on the market at 6,500 an acre, right? I hadn't researched the area. I guess we can do that. What is this?
Check the flood zone on that.
Let me see.
You see how you see those rows of trees? They look like veins.
Yeah.
Looks like a river. That's what makes you always think like there's probably water there. You see all those veins and the green, the darkest green?
Yeah.
That just always makes me wonder if there's water there.
I got contours on. Okay, there we go. All right. Yep. Here you go.
Boom.
Yeah, that takes that whole farm to market road out. Can you guys hear me, by the way? My mic died before.
Yeah, I can hear you. So, yeah, you see, Ty, the way that it's flooded at that shortest side now at the bottom?
Yeah.
That right there, you can't get separate driveways in that flood zone typically.
Okay.
So now you can't even consider having that bottom piece of road. That little tract that's already cut out by itself. Can you zoom in on that one?
Up here. Okay.
In the top part. Yeah. So you got enough room to throw a driveway in there. So you could sell that little tract by itself. You got now you have a home site right there. There's like that big clearing. Somebody could drop their house there and they're out of the flood zone. So that's still a beautiful piece of property. That's perfect. And it has a non-flooded road access. And then the rest of it, it looks like a good piece, man. You got enough road there to make it work, it looks like.
Okay. So what you're saying is like, how would this, if this was going to turn into a deal, what would need to happen, right? Does it need to be half that price at below the 6,500 acre, maybe at 3,000, 3,500, or or what?
I think it probably looks okay. Look, and I'll tell you why. As long as the flood zone is to the very back, away from the road, that's fine, because you can have a buildable site in the front by the road, and then the back is flooded. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. That's great. It might even be a wet creek back there. Kids go play in the water back there.
So you would subdivide all this going this long way right here, right?
Yeah, I just cut off that road right off there. Yep, and you might get some skinnier tracks and some funny shaped ones going around that other piece. But this is a beautiful piece of property. This is perfect. This is ideal.
Okay, so what price point retail 10 acres would need to be for this to make sense, even at the price that they're asking?
So our
Bremen? That's in Bremen?
Yeah, it's Robertson County. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
While you guys talk, I'll look at some stuff while y'all talk.
Okay.
I would say retail out there is probably 10, maybe 12 an acre. So you could try to sell 10-acre tracts for like $99K to 119, something like that. So I think the price might work where it is.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So just because I know people have questions, I'm going to have my question, but if you guys ask questions, it just helps everybody. If you have some, we might know everything. So, so you're going to we'll do 10. So what about these larger parcels back here though? Like when it opens up back here, what happens? Like, you see what I'm saying? Do you sell larger tracts? Because of it's smaller up here. You can get 10 in these, or it's just theirs is going to be narrow, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, it really depends on what you're going to do, right? This is a good piece where you have plenty of road frontage, so they probably don't have to be so narrow, but all you need is a buildable piece at the front, like a non-flooded piece in the front, and then the rest in the back. So this one's probably going to have some irregular shaped lots. And then at that price point, I would feel okay making 12s and 15s, so they don't have to be too skinny, right? Just depending on, everything is dependent on the amount of road frontage you have, right? And also the price. If this thing was at, let's say 12 an acre and it's only worth 15 and you're trying to do a quick sell, then you better have all 10s, because you're not going to be able to get a 22 acre piece at 16, 17. Now you have something you're trying to sell for 300K. Our target sales price is 199 and below. 189 and below is a quick sell target price that anybody can afford. Once you go to 200 to 250 to 300, like I said, now you got to be in like a higher area where people are wealthy, and that's not our target again. Like by the time I have to sell at 30 an acre, I'm probably out unless it's a really, really good area.
All right, so 6,500 times 141. All right, so we're at 916,000, right? So you're saying the average sale would be around 9,900? Is that what you were thinking, or 9,500?
Yeah, if I could sell it for 9,500 an acre, 9,000 an acre, and I think Kyle's looking at comps to make sure that works. But like in my mind, like I said, unless it's a crappy area, for 10,000 an acre, 99K for a 10-acre tract, that's a steal. That's always a good price, pretty much anywhere.
11 to 12 is about retail over here. So pushing around 9 to 9,500 is probably a really, really good price point for people to move on that. And if anything below 100 is going to be very attractive.
Yeah, looks like we should probably lock this one up, Ty.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll let him know ASAP. All right. So like just looking at this spread right here. So that's 1.39. I know it'll vary because, I'm assuming it's all negotiable, whatever. But so now you take 916 roughly. So there's, am I doing that right? No.
I think you did
$1 billion.
I wish,
Is that $1 billion?
It's because you have 141,000 times 9,500 instead of 141 times 9,500.
Okay.
See that up there in your history? So you do 141. Yeah, there you go.
9,500. Yeah.
Perfect.
There it is. Okay. Boom. Minus 916. Okay.
Now, if we can get a timeline, so imagine you got a timeline, right? So let's say we got 8 months to close, and we're just surveying it out, maybe adding some culverts here and there, like doing the least amount of things as possible. Like we're not coming much out of pocket to do that.
So I shouldn't do this again. I shouldn't ever say this again, right?
For seller financing, that's a pretty hefty down payment. So for seller financing, we could typically close quicker, but anything that we're coming in cash, it has to leave bare minimum like 6 months typically. Okay. 6 months feels like 60 days, honestly, with deals like this.
Where does this need to be? Half of this?
Yeah, look, so I'll tell you what our target is for these deals is we're looking for 2 to 2.5x of dollars spent.
Okay.
So if we're going to spend 100, we need to get at least 2 to 250 out of it. If not, why even do it? So in this case, if we're going to raise 400K, we still have to pay the lender on top of that, the private lender.
Mhm.
And then so if you only have a 300K spread or a 280 spread, that deal doesn't work at all. Yeah, if we're going to spend 400, yeah, we need to make about 8, maybe 1.2, something like that.
Where should I, now this is a separate deal now. This is the board.
I would stay firm at like a 10%. Anything that's typically pretty close to retail. So like let's say retail 7,000 an acre, 8,000 an acre, like we were talking about. I would stay very, very firm at 10%, 5 to 10%, just so we can have the least amount of money out of pocket and leverage that debt. We want to leverage the debt because let's say we wrap it and we're creating cash flow. You want to be the least amount of money out of pocket as possible.
Okay, so I went at 5% at the 100. So we'll just counter at 200,000 down. It would be the deal or no.
Yeah, and with the 5% interest, I'd counter back with maybe 5% more on the purchase price, or you can do like a reverse amortization where it starts on year 30 as opposed to year 1. So you're paying less. You're basically paying half the interest you'd pay if you're starting on a reverse am. We're doing a lot of creative stuff on that end too, on the debt side of things.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been making some just wild offers, man. Wild offers, and people are saying yes to just interesting things. So we say make crazy offers. You don't have to make an insulting offer, but you can make a crazy offer to say, okay, I'm going to give you the 400 down, but I'm going to give it to you in $4,000 a month.
Yeah, offers are free.
Oh man, so it's like I think in this world, I think like if you're doing infill lots in Florida, right? Like Kyle and a lot of our friends do. I don't think he's messing with it too much anymore, but that's a good business and it's pretty simple. It's point and shoot, but there's a lot of buyers coming. You got every kid in the world is finding buyers out there and sending them to builders, right? Yeah. But in our world, nobody's coming to save them. So they got a $2 million ranch. I'll call you in 6 months. I'll call you in 9 months, and we'll talk about this again. Is it okay if I follow up with you? And that's it, man. Just put them on a forever drip. And then 6 months later, they're like, hey, can we talk about that offer you made? Because nobody's coming to save them. Yeah, at first, they're very hopeful. And the longer they have it listed, it just starts to just over time and distance. They realize that nobody's coming to save them. And then now they want to talk about our offer again. And by that time, we look at it again, and we already found 20 other good deals. We're like, hey, we're not going to give you 400 down anymore. Like, we'll give you 5% down. Take it or leave it. Done.
Yeah. We're glad we got some questions, but talking about the offers. I hate to keep referencing Ron LeGrand, but it's because he's funny. But he said that if you're not embarrassed about your offer, you haven't offered low enough.
Yeah, we get those, man. We get people messaging us back like, "Hey, man, like, it's worth way more than that." Like, wow.
Or if they say yes the first time, you left something on the table, bro.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh yeah. Hey, the worst thing you have when you negotiate, not that you're being greedy, is you throw out what you think is a ridiculous number and say, "Yeah, we can do that."
Oh, I should have went a little more ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Oh,
yeah.
So anyway,
the bigger the land gets, the less discount we need. Yeah. So that's another something.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. That makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you have $1 million farm and we can bust it up into 10-acre lots and sell them for 15 or 18K an acre, like, dude, just give the guy the full milli. Like, what the hell? Give him the list price.
Yeah, just give us some time. Give us some time to close, and we'll give you full price.
Yeah,
and I'm glad we put up that flood zone property. Property had the flood zone. The one you said that's a deal, Ty. So you said long as it's away from the road and it's in the rear of the property. They deal with it. They like that kind of stuff. They might go out there on their ATV or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a bonus. If you got a little tiny creek in the back, amazing, dude. Maybe go fishing back there, et cetera. Just go right four-wheeling back there, whatever. I mean, that's perfect. It's everybody's dream. You get your house in the front, playground in the back.
Oh yeah.
But if you were to show that same lot to a builder, like a residential builder, they're probably not going to take that lot. So that's what's special about what we do. Somebody in this comment said, like, I don't like wholesaling land like that because the builders you reach out to are going to go behind your back.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that one. Yeah,
we're not reaching out to builders, man. We're reaching out to retail end buyers.
Just regular. Yeah,
and they can't afford to come in there and pay $1 million for it. All they can afford is $199. You know,
we're making it liquid, and 90% of our buyers are Spanish people with ITIN numbers. You know, we're providing a dream for them, and so yeah, it's. I don't think we're not touching a lot of builders at all on our disposition side of things at all.
That's exactly what we're doing, man. Is we created a loan product that doesn't really exist in the marketplace. So
yeah, that's a good question. So, like I say, you try to keep it under 200 grand as far as the price point. How do most people fund these deals from what you've seen?
I would say we do about half cash, half seller finance.
Okay.
And maybe as high as 60% seller finance. So we look for 20% down and 12% interest. So
all right. Do you all keep those, or I know when I first met you guys, you all were selling a lot of notes. You still do that, or are you keeping the cash flow, or just a combination?
We're still selling them, but we're looking at putting together a fund now so that we can start keeping all of the notes. And we have quite a few of them now, but you know, they are for sale. But we just create them all the time. Like every single deal, we end up with another handful of notes. So
yeah, and maybe we just assume that people know what that means. If you explain how you sell your properties. If you just explain. When I say sell your properties, once you've identified a property, you've surveyed it, it's 10 acres, 199. Basically, what is that per acre?
19.9 an acre.
19.9 an acre, or whatever. Explain how it's sold.
Yeah. Go ahead, Anthony.
You want to take it?
All right. Yeah. So let's say we're selling at a 19.9 acre cash, right? So that's cash. Typically, if someone's coming in seller financing, we're adding a increase to that around 35%. And we do that because once we create the note, we're able to sell that note typically for 65 to 70 cents on the dollar on our end. And that basically turns our note position to a cash position. And it typically is the same if we were to just sell it for that 199 cash.
Did you catch that one time?
I did.
So check this out. We want 100 cash. Right. Somebody comes in and they say, hey, I just need to finance it from you guys. We mark it up 35%. So now instead of them getting it for 100, they get it for 135. We take 20% down and then just sell the mortgage at 70 cents on the dollar.
Okay.
We make the exact same thing we were going to make anyway, but it takes a little longer on the backside, but you're not losing anything, right? We say, oh, well, you're selling your notes and you're taking a 30% hit. Well, we already marked it up on the front end anyway. So the buyer's the one that takes the hit because they're the one that needs the financing. But we're piecing the deal together for them to make it possible.
What makes that note attractive to a note buyer?
Shorter the term, the better the property, and the bigger the down payment, higher the interest. Yeah.
They don't get into credit and all that stuff.
They'll look at credit. We run all the buyers through an RMLO anyway, just to take a look at all their finances and all that. And then you got there's some documents you got to get signed to keep you legal. Like disclosures. So there's quite a few things that have to happen if you're going to sell 1 or 2 or 5 or whatever, seller finance, nobody's going to bother you. But when you start creating just dozens and dozens and hundreds of mortgages, then you need to start paying attention to like federal guidelines and those kinds of things if you're just going to be writing mortgages because it's heavily restricted.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So CEO said, as I drive by open lots that are fenced in with a for lease sign on it, is that something worth investigating as a possible deal? I guess he means.
Yeah, you could do that because you could do a lease with an option to purchase. And basically, a lease with an option to purchase is just seller financing.
Yep. And then another thing I was going to say is that guy might be leasing it because they don't know how else to make money off of it. But if you say, he's like, hey, well, I lease it out for $1,000 a month. Well, hey, why don't you sell it to me and I'll give you $2,000 a month for the next 30 years. So it's still worth a shot.
Absolutely.
Offers are free. So, all right. So Flipman in success finding land buyers on investor base. I've looked and I'll occasionally look to see the activity around the property. Matter of fact, that infield lot that I sent you all where I sent the plans and all that stuff over. I look for buyers that using investor base. I didn't see a lot of activity there, but that doesn't mean anything.
I put properties on like Investor Lift and these big platforms that dispo billions of dollars. I haven't moved a single piece of land on any of those.
They're totally, like I say, it's different. It's just different.
Yeah, like you said, Ty, a lot of people are retail buyers in the land game, unless it's like infill lots where you can sell them off to builders and stuff. A lot of like the specialty stuff and ranchettes, like we're doing it, it's retail.
Yeah.
So we'd use Facebook ads, Facebook Marketplace ads. We work with local brokers that might have buyers. There's plenty of ways to find buyers in the marketplace for land, and even selling it pretty dang close to retail value.
All right. Abundance Day, they're going for a crash course in here. They can you show us how to determine the cost of land, price the seller will, I guess they mean price the buyer will pay, and how to determine that cost to sell it at the price the buyer will pay when doing the closing. Basically saying, what should you pay, what you expect to get.
This is what we do is we put out ghost ads. So we put out an ad on a Facebook Marketplace for what we intend to sell it at. And then if you get good responses, then that means a good price. That's something that we feel comfortable moving forward and closing on. But if you let's say it's a 50-acre tract you're trying to bust up and sell. So you say, hey, I'm putting 10 acres out for $199 and you get zero activity, then you should probably not buy that property because you're not gonna be able to sell it for what you need to sell it for.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Are there a lot of hard cash buyers for land, which would allow us to wholesale the land and double close? Well, we sort of answered that already. It's not the same. You got to let the house mentality go. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Like if they said, it's like a 50-50, 50% people come in cash, 50% come in seller financing. But again, seller financing for us is basically just a cash position anyway. So it doesn't really matter. And to double close, we are like, let's say we leverage a long timeline. Like let's say we do a 10-acre lot split, and we have 10 tracts, and we have 5 people that submitted purchase and sale agreements, and we go to close out the property. Yeah, we're double closing, and we're typically using some sort of those funds towards the purchase price of the A to B file for us.
Yeah, I would say the game here is that retail end buyers are willing to overpay for property. So like let's say we lock up, I don't know, this 100 acres, we're going to do 10-acre tracts or something. And then we're going to try to sell all those 10-acre tracts to one developer or something like that. They're going to want a massive discount, right? To buy it from you, especially if they're going to buy in bulk. Where in our world, we could take something that's worth $120, right? And sell it seller finance for $199, $225. And the buyer loves us. They absolutely love us. We got them their dream property. So they're not going to go run comps and say, wait a minute, I can't pay $225 for this because everything around me is selling for $120. Like they don't give a crap. Hey, is it 20% down? Yes. Can I buy it if I don't have a social security number? Yes. Let's go. They don't want to hear no more.
Okay. Abundance Cole again. They don't want to really ask some questions, so we'll roll with them. What would we need to survey the land or do anything different when wholesaling land that we would not do when wholesaling homes? Well, I guess a home. Yeah.
Same play. Yeah. Same play. It's the exact same process. Get it under contract, sell it to an end buyer, give them an assignment or double close it.
So I think my mic died when we were talking about the question earlier on why land has a longer close time than houses. You can find builders and buyers that will do a quick close. But again, I think I touched on this last week a bit. Especially for Florida infill lots, there's a lot of nuanced things that can be on the lot. You can have endangered species like gopher tortoises and owls that burrow under the ground. It costs like $9,000 just to remove one tortoise because you have to hire someone to do it and get a permit to do it. You can have soil issues. There's a lot of wetlands in Florida, unreported wetlands when the soil's way too wet. You can have an easement going through the middle of the infill lot. You never know. So you got to do a lot more due diligence, make sure it's buildable, and you can do what you need to do.
Yeah, I was going to say too that's another justification for having a big, $1 million, $2 million ranch. You can get 6 months to close because everybody understands there's a lot of homework that's about to go into this property, right? And the last thing you want to do is buy something for $1 million or $2 million, and now you're stuck with it and you have no way to get your money back out. You could be ruined in a single transaction, right? If you're just starting out. So yeah, you want to be aware of several things. So I'll give you an example, like that property we bought, the one where we're doing the neighborhood. Everybody that was trying to buy it was trying to get 6 months to a year of due diligence. That's why it sat for 6 months, because the seller wasn't up for it. but we said, hey, we'll close in like 50 days or whatever it was. It was like just under 2 months or something. And they took it because they wanted, they were going to get that quick close with us. Well, our intentions, right? We're going to do a subdivision. And I talked to the electrical company about how many units we were going for and all that. They said, if we have to upgrade the transmission line coming from down the road, it could be anywhere between $500,000 and $700,000. Right. So that study alone for the electric, I think took like 3 months to come back. Right. So, nothing moves fast in this business anyway. So there's no reason to try to rush into something. Well, we gambled, we bought it. And as it turns out, the electricity company is going to go ahead and pay for that upgrade, that transmission line. But they said it was going to be our responsibility. But since they want the business and they like the project, they're going to cover that $700,000 upgrade cost. But we would have had to eat that. So that's a gamble that we took on that particular property. So that's why you need, the bigger the land gets, the longer timeline you need.
All right. The CEO asked the question, what software are you guys using mainly? And are you doing blanket? Let's address that one first before we go to the second. What software do you all mainly use?
Man, we try to keep it as simple as possible. To identify and look at shapes and like flood and stuff like that, we'll use Land ID, Land Glide sometimes if we're on the go and on the fly. But if we're in front of a computer, I'm liking Land ID. And then to find deals, man, just off the MLS, Redfin, Zillow, Land.com, Landwatch, Realtor.com. I mean, we're keeping it very simple. And then just a simple CRM. We have the HiveMind CRM too that we use to just, keep stuff and organized and stuff like that, and we can market and stuff from there. But really, we're keeping it very simple.
Yeah. So you all, his follow-up question, additional question was, and are you doing blanket blind offers, widespread through direct mail like most land guys? So you all probably have done that, but that's not your.
Like let's say you have a successful 10-acre subdivide, picked it up for $5,000, sold it for $10,000, 10-acre lots for $10,000. Well, then you just have to identify parcels in the area that are similar, and then you can just send out obviously some rough blind offers and do that. But mainly there's so much stuff on the MLS that we just haven't really thought about that.
Yeah, I would say mailers that's probably one of the best ways to market for land, but every guru in the country is teaching that.
Yeah.
So it's still I know a guy that's making money doing mailers right now, right? And probably tons of them. But you just go, if you don't have a budget, just go straight to MLS.
Oh, it's very expensive to do mail, to do it the right way.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It's very expensive. Yeah, like
so if you're just starting out and you don't have access to that capital, just go right on Google, go right to the MLS listed stuff.
I got introduced. Well, they've been emailing me since April. I just paid attention to it 3 or 4 days ago. But oh my God, this company, and I knew someone was going to do it. There are AI agents out there that are cold call for you, but they specifically design it for wholesalers or investors. Mm-hmm. And you cannot tell that it's AI when they're having a conversation with somebody. They only train the model, the AI model for houses, even though some land guys are using it or whatever, but it can have, okay. So when you're doing cold calling and say, even if you had a VA or you were using a dialer, the dialer could dial 10 numbers at a time. But once you start having a conversation with it, stops. You can only have that one conversation, right? It can literally have 144,000 conversations at once.
Wow.
At once. And so I cranked it up, not yesterday, it must have been Thursday. Cranked it up we built one for houses or whatever. And we got 57 leads in less than 24 hours. I'm not going to take to get 57 leads, man.
That's a lot of phone calls.
That's a lot of phone calls. So in that time frame, it was a target of 5,000, a list of 5,000, and it had 1,100 conversations out of that. Now a lot of those hang up, so screw off and all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about so they want to work with me on starting to run some land campaigns so they can get enough data to start to train the model to target land. And so like he was talking about blind offers, and when I talked to him again next week, and I was already thinking about that yesterday, it would be great. And I know the technology is there where they can literally just call and make the offer on the land. You know what I'm saying? Like you already have an idea what that parcel should sell for. And I know people go about it a different way when they make the blind offers and send out an actual contract or whatever. But imagine if the AI was doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
How people can read, and then it's at a fraction of the cost because do mailers to generate 50 cents. Oh my God. So basically that costs $2,300 to do that, to generate those. That's about $40 a lead if you want to just break down the math. And I got one more day left.
All day. That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, so we'll see. It will be more to talk about that. But to answer his question, I know you guys that you're more just looking at stuff that's listed. And the agents, a lot of agents, they're listing stuff. They have no idea what they're listing.
Yeah, something. Can I share my screen real quick if you don't mind?
Oh yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I got about 5 minutes, and I got to head go look at a couple properties on the south side. So I'm gonna bounce here in just a few.
That's fine. No, we can end it here in a second. So, but what you got, Kyle?
I was just going to show you guys real quick. So as you were saying about blind offers, this is something that I personally started putting together, and someone else on the team started putting together. Is we're starting to like almost split it off in different places to help people make their offers on, hey, what we need to pick something up for cash and what we need to pick up something for on seller financing. So that's something we're starting to put together. So that should help out a lot of people as well.
Dude, I haven't even seen this before. You put this together?
Hugo and myself are starting to put this together. Yeah.
You guys are crazy, man. That's so crazy.
So what? To make sure I'm looking at it, turn the satellite version. I don't know why my eyes are more looking at
Oh, you're good. Let me see how to do that real quick.
Go to a base map.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, satellite.
I use this daily, and I still don't know how to use this shit, right?
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah. So as you can see, what's pretty cool is the borders. They go off school district, but it actually splits it up really nicely to where it kind of differentiates area. So we kept it like that because I'm like, oh, it actually looks pretty good. It's not perfect. We're still looking at it. Obviously, it'll change as the market changes. But we're just kind of doing it. We're starting it in South San Antonio and stuff to do it. But looking at it correctly, yeah, you got 8.5K an acre cash. That's like your acquisition price. 12.7 an acre seller financing. So if you can get it around there, then you got a pretty dang good deal.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of what we're starting to build out.
Dude, that's very helpful right there. We need to find a way to get this out to people sending us deals. Sure. They can pre-filter themselves before they send it to us.
How easy can we make it for people where you can make 50 to 100 grand as an assignment fee on a ranch just by us telling you what to pick stuff up for and just make offers out there? It's pretty simple.
I'll tell you what, guys, if you don't have systems, if you don't have access to capital, if you don't have fancy tools, if you're brand new, if you know nothing, you can go to Google. You can say, hey, 100 acres to 200 acres for sale within 15 minutes of, I think Zillow does like a radius. So it'll show you everything, every property that's right there in that area based on that price and that size. And that's it. All you got to do is hit up those agents and you go to your filters and say stuff that's been listed for 36 months and then work your way backwards. Hey, I've seen this was a beautiful piece of property. It's been listed for 2 years. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on with it? I always ask, is there something wrong with it?
Yeah.
All right. And they're like, well, no, it's a beauty. They start selling you on how amazing it is. And you're like, why do you think it hasn't sold? All right. And then we can start talking about price. Well, I mean, it looks to me, and I mean, call me crazy, but I know this area really well. It looks like you guys are just kind of too high on price. So if I'm coming in cash. I'm like at 50, 60% of that if I'm coming in cash. But if you guys are trying to get closer to what you have it listed for, I can probably get that done, but it's going to take me about 2 or 3 years to pay you off. Is that something you guys want to talk about? And then done, man. Make your 2 offers. They say no, jump on to the next one. And that's it. You got an infinite number of numbers you can call on Google and look at different properties.
Boom.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So the guys got to get out of here. You can hit both of them up. Anthony, I think yours is Anthony at TexasRanchFlippers.com, or is it the admin? It's the admin.
Admin goes to Daniel. I don't check my emails, man. I got millions of missed emails.
Okay, so and then Kyle.
The only way I use my emails is when somebody calls me and says, "Hey, I sent you an email at 2:00." Then I'll go fish for it. But I've been doing online marketing for like 20 years, so I'll tell you right now, I have 309,651 unread emails.
I bet I got more.
Yeah. I only look for emails. People tell me like, hey, I need you to go in and sign this. Hey, I need you to go, whatever. Then I'll go fish for it. But I'm just not running through emails all day, seeing what's going on. So yeah, that's that admin goes straight to Daniel and then Kyle at Texas. But you have a better link, right, for submitting deals, Daniel? Or I guess send the deals to you, Ty, right? And then you'll disperse them to us.
Yeah, we could put a link up for you guys too, then, man.
No, let's have them send from it's your live. Let's send them straight to you, and then Kyle will get you a form so that you can put the leads in there so we can take a look at it.
Yeah, we can make you a form, Ty, that has like almost like a backslash, flip man. So we know it comes from you and stuff too. So we can do some cool stuff with that, my man.
All right, cool, man. All right.
We're gonna aim for next Saturday again.
Sorry.
Or are we gonna aim for next Saturday again?
Oh yeah, I'm in. I make sure I do it, man. You know what I'm saying? All in. So I think people really like it. And so with that being said, guys, my guys showed up and showed out again. So hit me up. Let's get out here and make this bread. Thanks, and we'll see you guys on the FLIP SIDE.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash.